Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Live with Senior Trade Shows. Apologies, please. We started a little bit late. We were having some technical difficulties. Thank you for bearing with us and thank you for your understanding. Again, it's a beautiful day out here in Houston, Texas. It's a sunny day, and we just want to say thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Live with Senior Trade Shows. Live with Senior Trade Shows is a virtual show that features various subject matter experts to empower seniors, caregivers, veterans, and their families through education and resources. So we discuss various topics and provide resources to help our audience make informed decisions. That is what Live with Senior Trade Show is all about. My name is 𝙬𝙞𝙨𝙘𝙪𝙨, your host for today, and I hope that your day is going great, and I thank you for tuning in once again. So I'll be introducing today's topic, and we would focus on helping us all stay connected. We will be discussing how to stay connected, especially for our senior citizens amidst the COVID pandemic and post the pandemic. So while things are slowly getting back to normal, some seniors still have not taken the COVID vaccine. Some still continue to live in fear, in isolation, and some are disconnected from others due to the pandemic. So we want you to join us today on this episode so that we can discuss with our experts from the crisis counselors from the Gulf Coast Center, Texas Recovering Together program, to use our platform to offer free information that can help you cope during this period. So that's our goal for today, to educate you on how you can continue to stay connected even in the midst of this pandemic and post the pandemic. So welcome to another episode of Live with Senior Trade Show. So I have here Lisa. Welcome, Lisa. Good morning.
Good morning.
And I have Frank here as well. Good morning, Frank.
Good morning.
Okay, so I've shared with the audience, good morning, about what our focus is on today. I know that things are slowly getting back to normal, but we still have some seniors who haven't had their vaccine, some that are still living in fear, some that are living in isolation, some that are disconnected with other people, but there are ways that we all can just stay connected, even in this pandemic, even in post COVID. So that's our focus for today, to educate our audience on how they can continue to stay connected, especially in this season. So welcome again to Live with Senior Trade Show, and thank you for sharing this valuable information with our audience. And I'll let you introduce yourself. Who's going first? Between both of you, is that Lisa or Frank?
Yes, that would be me.
Okay, sure. Well, ladies first. So take the back seat, Frank.
Thanks so much for having us on. Good morning. My name is Lisa Taylor, and this is Frank Chapa, and we are crisis counselors with Texans Recovering Together, as Esther said. Our crisis counseling program is free, and we offer confidential services for everyone affected by COVID-19. And that's everyone, because this pandemic has reached us all. And we're working with people in residents of Brazoria and Galveston counties. So if it's not traditional counseling or psychotherapy, but we are trained counselors, and we offer short-term social and emotional support during the pandemic. So that's what we're here for.
Awesome. So is Frank going to be introducing himself? Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about that.
I can introduce myself later. I'll let Lisa take over for now, and then I'll come in halfway through.
Sounds good. So seniors can stay active during the COVID-19 physical distancing. So we're talking about how to stay connected with others while you're social distancing or during the pandemic. And the coronavirus pandemic has turned our lives upside down, and it's prevented a lot of people throughout the world from working, from socializing, from performing everyday activities, basically. And older adults are at a higher risk of complications from the virus. So it's important for people of retirement age to protect themselves during the pandemic. And also it's vitally important for older adults to stay physically and mentally active. So it's challenging though, and it's kind of, it's difficult for us to find those activities where we can stay mentally and physically active and also physical distancing. So that's what we're talking about today. The CDC recommends that if you're vaccinated, and that's 2 weeks after your final shot, that you are able to resume your activities as you did before the pandemic, and you don't need to wear a mask or a physical distance or anything like that, unless you're required to do so at that particular establishment. You won't need to be tested before or after traveling. You don't need to quarantine. You can interact with others freely unless you have symptoms of the coronavirus. It says that you also can continue to follow work and business guidelines. So while you may be vaccinated, if your place of business still requires you or suggests that you wear a mask, you may do so. They do recommend you wear a mask when you're traveling, and watch for symptoms if you've been around with someone with the virus. And as always, talk to your doctor or your medical professional if you have any conditions or if you're taking any medications that might weaken your immune system. If you're unvaccinated, however, the CDC recommends that you find a vaccine. In addition, if you're unvaccinated, you would continue to avoid crowds, use physical distancing of 6 feet or more, wear a mask, and wash your hands regularly, things that you've been doing all along. Also, according to the CDC, there's some outdoor activities. We decided that we were going to talk to you guys about some ways to engage in activities and to connect with others without feeling like you're compromising your health or your well-being. And so in this graphic, you can see there's some suggestions here like walking or running or wheelchair roll or biking outdoors with members of your household. That is completely safe for unvaccinated people and for fully vaccinated people as well. It also talks about attending small outdoor gatherings with fully vaccinated family and friends is completely safe. It's attending small outdoor gatherings with fully vaccinated and unvaccinated people is also safe. If you're unvaccinated, you'd want to wear a mask though. Dining outdoors at a restaurant is less safe, but if you're wearing a mask, if you're unvaccinated, and you can see in the graphics that if you are fully vaccinated, then everything is considered safe for you. So only for individuals who are not vaccinated, you might want to wear a mask. Attending crowded outdoor events would be less safe, significantly less safe. Next slide, please. These are some examples of indoor activities, like visiting the hair salon or going to get your hair cut at a barbershop, less safe for those who aren't vaccinated. Going to uncrowded shopping areas, indoor gatherings with vaccinated and unvaccinated individuals, less safe. And then out in an indoor movie theater is significantly less safe. Again, for people who are vaccinated, you can go about your daily activities as you did prior to the pandemic, and you're still protected because of the vaccine. Next slide. And here are some more indoor activities, and we can just go on to the next one. Thank you. So safety tips for seniors during physical distancing activities. Before engaging in any type of exercise, older adults and younger adults, everyone needs to check with their doctor to make sure that the activities that they plan are safe and appropriate. It's important to reduce the risk of falls when you start a new activity or exercise routine by exercising on a flat surface that's free of tripping hazards, and be sure to wear appropriate footwear for the activity. Also, you don't want to overdo it. Even if you are used to exercising, or if you consider yourself pretty physically fit, if you're starting a new activity, you still want to use caution. Start on the beginner level and take it slow. Even if you're active, generally speaking, just take your time doing it. There's no hurry. You can always incrementally increase your activity level. Number 3, stay hydrated. You want to make sure you get enough to drink. Make sure you're drinking before and after your exercise or your activity. It's really important to make sure you're staying hydrated. Seniors can become dehydrated pretty quickly, and so it's important to make sure you're getting enough fluids. And keep someone informed. Let someone know that you're exercising, especially if you're leaving the house or if you're going out by yourself. And it's not just for accountability's sake, but also to protect you in case of injury or other health concern. If you have a home care professional that comes into your home, maybe you might want to schedule your exercise or activity when they're there, when that person is there with you, so they can monitor and ensure that you're safe. And they could, and to help you stay connected, you might want to exercise with a friend or a partner, or you could do a video chat. Someone that is with you, but not in the room with you, so that you can do it and stay connected with someone and also stay safe. Ways to communicate while physical distancing. So some examples of things that you could do are phone and video calls. Sometimes we think other people are busy, and so we are reluctant to give them calls when they love to hear from us. So take the time to tell stories or jokes or share, solve riddles, call your grandkids or other family members or loved ones, play games over the phone or video chat, read books aloud. And those are some fun activities that you can do without compromising your health if you're unvaccinated. You can also send letters to your loved ones. It's kind of old school, but it's still fun to write a letter. People, especially kids, love getting things in the mail with their names on them. So if you have younger people in your life, then write them a letter. They would love that, and they'd probably write you back as well. Have your supplies delivered to your home so that you're staying safe, and you can ask your caregiver or other loved one to order things online for you if you're not, if you don't feel too technologically savvy. Also, you could join an online book club. Reading a book together and discussing it is interesting. And your local libraries usually have book clubs going on, so feel free to check that out. Attend virtual group meetings, events, or courses. Meetup.com is a great place to find groups of people that share similar interests to you. Eventbrite also has free webinars and workshops. And I know this is sounding a little bit heavy on the tech side, but feel free to ask someone for help, someone close to you in your family or in your household. And if you venture out into the libraries, the librarians are often very helpful and will come over and help you to sign on and get into something online, and it's free of charge, so take advantage of that service there. If you're not physically distancing though, you may want to, the world is open to you, right? So you can join a class. Your local recreation center may have some classes available. It's a good and low cost way to connect with others. Water aerobics or Tai Chi, something like that. You could stay connected and physically fit, and it's low impact, and it's good for your body. Invite other people to join you. You're not socially distancing, you're not physically distancing. So pile on the friends, call people up, invite them, make friends while you're out, and ask them to join you. Go to your place of worship, churches, temples, mosques, synagogues. All of them are great places to meet people and to interact with others that have similar worldviews, and volunteer in your time. Over your lifetime, you have gained a wealth of knowledge and experience, all kinds of information that people need. Volunteer at your local charity, support grassroots politicians, offer a listening ear at a local shelter or a food pantry. There are many ways to give back to your community, and other people will benefit from what you have to offer. And I'm going to turn it over to Frank.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for that presentation. I'll let you take over, Frank.
All right, thank you very much. And again, I want to introduce myself. My name is Frank Chapa. I'm also a crisis counselor along with Lisa. So thank you, Lisa, for that. I think everything she pointed out is very helpful as far as sometimes it's difficult to come up with ideas and how to be social. So what I wanted to focus on is the importance of socialization, what it does for us mentally, and kind of a better understanding of socialization and how it fits into our health. We often go and get our checkups, you know, every 6 months. You go to the dentist or what have you, and we often think about those things. And I think personally, I would love for us as a society to address our mental health the way we go get a checkup for those other things that I mentioned. And so this part of the presentation, I want to focus on why it's important to socialize and what it does, well, what the benefits are, and why it can be so difficult sometimes. Why does it feel difficult to socialize when it's something that maybe comes very naturally to others? So I'm going to start with a few reasons why elderly socialization is critical. It's why it's important. So again, the CDC points out that an estimated 1/3 of adults age 45 or older feel lonely. And feeling lonely, let me define that. That doesn't mean that they're not getting those interactions. That means that regardless of whatever interactions you're getting with folks or a caregiver or with people on the phone or even a video like this, regardless of whatever interactions a person is getting, they just still have that feeling of being alone. And that's a feeling of loneliness. It doesn't mean they're not getting interactions. It just means that whatever they are getting, it may not be enough for them. So that's loneliness. Also, it's estimated that 1/4 of seniors age 65 or older are socially isolated. And when I say socially isolated, that means it's not like loneliness. That means that there are no social connections, or they're lacking social connections. If they wanted it or not, those social connections aren't as available to those people. So that's social isolation. And so between loneliness and social isolation, both those together can combine or be there, one or the other, to really affect someone's mental health. And so while we have previously in this past year been struggling with ongoing with the pandemic and needing to quarantine or set ourselves socially distant, this was something that was happening before the pandemic. And so it seems that in the last year, these things have been exacerbated. And so it's a good time to reflect on how essential socialization is for seniors and how we can support our loved ones if we feel like we're being social, but maybe we know people that are not. So let's go to the next slide. So I just have a couple pictures up here. And what I want to talk about is why socialization is so important to this. And we know a lot of folks who we might think, okay, that person, they're a loner, or they're a lone wolf. They just kind of go off and do their own thing. And that may be true. There are a lot of different personality types. So when it comes down to it, humans are wired to be very social creatures. It's just in our genetic makeup. Our brain produces neurochemicals that make us bond, and it's important for our protection. For example, I have a very early civilization here, a picture on the left, and you see people working together. And together they can achieve things that just one man alone could not, or one woman alone. And so they're building perhaps a shelter, and in numbers they're stronger against a predator. And so it has benefited mankind to be social because together we've been stronger. And so our genetic makeup, our minds, and the way we're built is made to be social. And our let's say neurochemicals will even reward us when we're being social because that behavior is beneficial to us. Likewise, all animals are like this, and sometimes these bonding or social feelings can even just the biological side could potentially take over sometimes. And so, for example, here you have a tiger. And the story behind this tiger with these piglets that seem to be resting all over it, otherwise we'd think that tiger has 3 snacks there ready to go. But really, this tiger is a surrogate mother to these piglets. And what happened was she had a premature litter of cubs. And because it's a tiger at a zoo, she was going to potentially experience a lot of distress. And on top of already being caged for being in a zoo, the zookeepers decided to replace the cubs as they were being born with piglets. And at that time, the tiger was producing very strong bonding chemicals there and in her brain. And it could have been just about any animal that you placed in front of the tiger at that special time when the tiger was giving birth. These neurochemicals happening in the tiger's brain created this bonding moment. So you could have placed just about any animal in front of her, and she wasn't going to eat it. She's going to bond with it, and that's kind of what happened in this situation. And so she adopted these piglets, and she kind of lives with them, and they keep her happy. And this is just an example showing that our bodies are very much wired to be social. And so for us to go out and socialize, we're doing those things like exercise and eating right and all those, and sleeping a good amount, all those things that keep us healthy and make our bodies happy and generally produce a whole wellness for us. We're doing those things when we socialize. So next slide here. Bottom, let's see, next slide here. We'll just go forward. We're just finding that next slide. There we go. Okay, so after discussing how biology creates bonding, I want to discuss how sometimes that same biology or mental distress or mental wellness can sometimes create roadblocks in the way we want to socialize. Perhaps we all want to socialize, and sometimes we're thinking, you know, I know I have friends that are calling me or family that's having an event. I just don't feel like it today. And you may wonder, why can that be? Well, there are tons of reasons why. It could be the specific person, it could be an event, it could be how you feel that day. But I want to specifically focus on a few mental health problems that can occur for folks that interfere with socializing. Because although the situation may be a perfect opportunity for you to socialize, you just may not feel like it, and you wonder why. So I brought three important mental health issues to the table for you to just recognize and consider next time you're wondering, why does it feel like often I may not feel like socializing when I know it's so beneficial to me? The first is experiencing potentially depressive symptoms. So I just want folks to be aware that depressive symptoms cause you sometimes to feel like you don't want to socialize, even though the situation may be perfectly set up for you to socialize. Sometimes it's very appropriate, but perhaps you're experiencing a loss or you're grieving, and so of course you don't feel like socializing in that moment. But sometimes you just wake up and nothing bad happened the day before, and everything is seemingly okay, and you just feel down for some reason. So let me describe these depressive symptoms. Sometimes those depressive symptoms can physically make you have sleep difficulties, either too much or too little. It may cause a change in appetite, or perhaps cause poor concentration and fatigue. And then mentally, when you have depressive symptoms, you may feel sad or low, maybe without any reason that you can tell. You may feel just a general loss of enjoyment, like nothing really brings joy to you, and also these feelings of worthlessness or feeling guilt. And you really just, again, you may have a situation that's causing this, and you may just feel that way. And sometimes some folks that say, well, I don't know why I feel this way, I just do, I constantly feel this way. That obviously creates a roadblock to socializing. But I do want to point out, as this picture shows on the right, that there are antidepressive benefits to socializing. Even just sitting around and just shooting the breeze with someone has been shown, according to research, to produce benefits, the kind that can combat depressive symptoms before they start on. So I may recommend, and this is of course for you to talk about with, for you to think about with yourself, to talk about with your doctor if you're feeling any of these things, or with a professional. But I would suggest that a daily dose of just making some small talk or having that interaction, even if you don't feel like it, may start to accumulate into something beneficial, because of how beneficial just small interactions like that throughout the day can be. So if you haven't been very social, if you're not doing those things, I would recommend at least make some of those small conversations, the small talk with folks if you can. Next slide. So here's another one. So we talked about depressive symptoms, and there's also anxiety symptoms or anxious symptoms. So a lot of these overlap, and there are some of the similar symptoms when it comes to these types of things. When you were talking about anxiety symptoms or anxious symptoms, physically in this situation, what keeps you from feeling your most social is you may feel a little restless or maybe a little fatigued. You may experience some muscle tension, or again, sleep disturbance is common in here as well. And mentally, you feel just like nervous, like there's a sense of danger about you. And maybe you feel irritable and just constantly on edge, like you're worried or something's about to happen. And when you feel like that, of course, it's going to be hard to want to go out and venture into the world and make connections with people. Your mood just isn't there as far as you can tell. But again, just stressing here that a great way to combat that is, even though you may feel this way and you're thinking, I'm looking and examining my situation, I'm not exactly sure what it is about anything going on that would cause me to feel this way, just kind of feel this way. Well, again, aside from getting a checkup from your doctor, with talking to a mental health professional or loved ones about what it is that may be going on, social interactions can help regulate those neurochemicals that can help keep your body mentally well. So when you socialize, when you exercise, when you do those things that are positive for you, your neurochemicals are going, and you're doing those things that you were naturally made to do. And so the research has shown that, again, some of those interactions and doing those things that are good for you, like socializing, can help you build this neuro balance, this chemical balance in your head. You've got all these neurochemicals that are going around trying to do their job, and doing these things that are healthy for you can help keep those in balance. That's not always the case, of course. Sometimes you do need to visit with your doctor and do all those things. But aside from that, if you've been to the doctor and you know everything's going okay, sometimes these interactions, they help regulate you, and that's what we're trying to get at. So next slide here. And lastly, the third one I brought up because it directly affects socialization is social anxiety or social phobia. Now, this is different than just general anxiety. What we're talking about here is this sense of persistent fear or anxiety about going into a social situation. It has to do specifically with that social picture you get in your head when you think about going out into the world. And it's not that you're going out, it's that you know there'll be certain situations there or people you run into. And this dread keeps you from socializing, even though you may say to yourself, well, I don't have any reason to fear this person or meeting these people, but I just have this, unfound maybe, or I have a general fear or phobia of going out into these social situations. You may experience anxiety or distress that interferes with your daily living because of this. A lot of folks that have a very severe or more severe social anxiety may find themselves just staying in and shutting the door and not really interacting with anyone. And it kind of snowballs and it gets worse and worse, as for some people, as they stay in longer and longer. And so there's the big key is general avoidance of social situations. Or if you must have to go out into the world, perhaps it's your job, or you said you would be in an event, you might be socializing and hating it the whole time. You're enduring that social situation with fear. And if that's the case, of course, you're not getting the benefits of the social situation. So again, if any of those things are the case, depressive symptoms, anxious symptoms, a social phobia, and those are just three. There are others I could name, and they could all interfere with your socialization. If there are things that are keeping you from socializing comfortably and getting all those benefits, and you're not exactly sure, how to proceed or what to do about it, again, you can always get a checkup from your primary care doctor, talk to a caregiver. You can always speak to a professional about it. And we're some of those professionals. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide. I also want to point out resources for you. So aside from the mental health stuff, where you can speak to a professional, you may say to yourself, okay, well, many of those things, I may have experienced them before, or they're currently not my situation. I would like to socialize, and I think that would be a wonderful idea. I just don't know right now what is actually happening in my community. Some things are starting up again. Some things had stopped and never came back. What is it that is happening? I haven't been connected to my community in a while. Where can I go for help? So I have some resources here on the screen. If you're watching this video, this might be a good time to pause it and take down some of this information. Otherwise, you can go online and do a Google search of some of these keywords, and those websites are fairly easy to find. But I'm starting with the AARP. They're an excellent community connection tool. All these are free organizations to call. So I have that website up and that phone number there. And it's a community connection tool, so they'll connect you to local community events that are happening. The Area on Aging, this is a network of about 620 organizations across the U.S., and they just put together and aggregate lots of information, and they have information regarding nutrition and caregiver support, all that good stuff. Specifically, they often know what groups are meeting, and these are regional groups, so it's not like one number for the U.S. You want to find your local area on aging, probably for your county or for the area that you're viewing this in. There's also the Elder Care Locator. This is a free national service that helps to find local resources for seniors, so you can call them as well or visit their website if you're interested in using them. And then I have two more. The National Council on Aging, and they provide community-based programs. I didn't find a phone number for them, but I do have their website up on there. And then finally, the National Institute on Aging. And they provide actual printed materials about those things I was talking about before. We talked about social isolation, where you don't have those connections. We also talked about loneliness, where you feel alone even though you have seen people, so maybe you need more connections. So this place, the National Institute on Aging, provides material, printed material that you can read more about these topics that I've been discussing. And this is for materials for adults or older adults, caregivers, and providers. Next slide there. Okay, so as I was talking to you before about, so those are the resources, and they went kind of quick, and I know I just described a few things that you might consider regarding mental health that may affect socialization, and then Lisa gave a bunch of great ideas for how you personally can begin to be a little more social in your own life. And you may have some questions, and we don't just want to present this material out to you and leave you wondering. We want to be there for you and back this up. If you have any questions about anything we talked about today, about any of the resources we put out there, or if you'd like to connect with us and have us be a little bit of your social connection for today, we're happy to discuss that with you. We have a support hotline, and that is listed right there. I'll read it out. It's 1-800-643-0967. And Lisa and I or any of our colleagues are happy to discuss any of that with you. Again, we're confidential, and we're free, and it's a support hotline. We also have resources for you if you need it. So the biggest thing I will say is, if there is some kind of need in your life, whether it be social or otherwise, mental health or otherwise, there are so many resources out there and folks that are ready and happy to help you out. It's just a matter of going out and doing it. Or if you know someone that's in need, that is having some difficulty with that, a loved one or a friend in your life, that this may be a great time to remember what they may be going through and consider helping them get a leg up on the situation. So that's the big message for today. And I hope all this information, or some of it at least, has been helpful to you. And so with that, I'll turn it back to our wonderful host.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing with our audience today. Yes, so many of us, I love to be out there, but like the pandemic has kept us indoors for almost a year now, and senior trade shows, one thing that we also do is we bring seniors and resources together in the community, and we put all those events on hold because of the pandemic, but we are going to be resuming soon, and that is an avenue as well for seniors to congregate, to meet other seniors, to learn about the community, the resources in the communities, and that's something that we're looking forward to doing in the near future. So thank you so much for coming up again on our platform to share this valuable information with our audience. I'm sure we all have seniors in our life or family loved ones in our life who can benefit from this, just to help our seniors to continue to stay connected, especially in those challenging times. So thank you so much once again, and we'll connect off screen.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in again to another episode of Live with Senior Trade Show. If you are a service provider in the community and you want to be part of our live show, which comes on every other Wednesday here on Facebook or YouTube, feel free to send us an email. We have our information on the screen. If you want to also support any of our show to bring resources that can impact the senior community, caregivers, veterans in the community, you're welcome to use our platform to share your resources. Again, my name is 𝑺𝑍𝑏𝐻, right here on Live with Senior Trade Show. We look forward to towards you joining us on 2 weeks from today on another episode of Live with Senior Trade Show. Stay cool, stay hydrated. It's getting warm out there. The summer is right here. So thank you so much for joining us, and have a good day. Bye-bye.